Jaxson Dart was a quarterback who was at first disliked going to the 2025 draft, and then once it started, the hype train started rolling. He was truly a mystery box prospect to me, where you really didn't know whether or not he was going to work out. His rookie season really encapsulated this, showing the highs and the lows highlighted of him as a prospect, from making poor decisions, having many explosive throws, and having questions on his ability to run a real NFL offense, along with his John Elway mindset to constantly ram into defenders. We will be reviewing all these critical issues in his rookie season, starting with the easiest and the most important issue. My concern with Jaxson Dart in his rookie season is his running style. He is too reckless with his hammering into defenders. It's just irresponsible. And as a result, it led to him being constantly evaluated for concussions, a total of 5 times to be exact. That's not good ever, especially for a rookie. I will say he did improve a bit as the season went on. It still was a problem though, because no matter how lethal you are in the run game, it's going to be taking you off the field or sending you to the medical tent to be evaluated for concussions, then you have a problem. From the football side of it, as a quarterback, you are the most valuable individual on the field. If you're out because of a concussion or another injury, your team is likely to go nowhere, and your season could be ruined by a few losses because of the backup playing. That's how important it is to have your quarterback on the field. Now, on the human aspect, and ultimately it's the most important thing, we see more and more cases of CTE in NFL players, and we know it's caused not just by concussions, but by minor hits to the head over time. Kind of the cool thing with Jaxson Dart's mobility is that he isn't a blazer. He has great vision, weaving through defenses pretty well, given he isn't this Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson type of style runner. Jaxson Dart has to clean up his running style, sliding on time, not late, or just going out of bounds. Not just to keep him on the field, but for his own well-being. The biggest issue that Jaxson Dart had coming out of college that I saw in his rookie season is the question of how he would handle running a real NFL offense. This is because at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, in the simplest way and for time's sake, it was a heavy vertical style offense where what Dart was running was simplified. Many reads were also half-field reads, not full field reads, which is basically a necessity in the NFL to do. Now, naturally going to the NFL, you'll see 90% of the time these guys not only struggle, but not work out because they can't handle full field reads with the complexities of a NFL offense, or simply put, just not being able to process at the speed that you need to. But with Jaxson Dart, that's what you saw. Slow decision making, not seeing the field right, or not understanding what to look for. It was not as bad as it was for Shadir Sanders, but it was certainly muddy. It was more of decision making than processing, in my opinion, and the film shows just that. Against the Commanders, which we all know is bad defense, Dart will struggle with processing. It's first down, and we'll see at first it covers pre-snap being covered 2. Dart will look to his left, see the post not open, and then towards the middle and see this receiver open. He moves off that to the check down. Not good. The check down will not get you much here, but this would. Maybe because he's worried about the corner, but it's only a real issue if he places this way right of the wide receiver. And not only that, but if he throws a strike, which will also be fine, with it being first down, now is the time to go back downfield to the post or this wide receiver. On the following play, we see it again. The Commanders rotate from cover 3 to cover 4 and then back to cover 3 with the switching of the safeties. That's really what happens here. He looks off to the right, pretty clear none of this is open, but Dart sits on it and doesn't look to the other reads, which Robinson's running wide open through the defense. Instead, he sees an opening to run and he takes off. It results in an explosive run, which, hey, that's great, but he should be reading everything. It is a problem because as you go through this film, you'll see him either take off or check down when he's seeing other opportunities. It's a consistent issue. It's enough of a problem that it's not good. It's just kind of like in that middle where he does need to improve, but it's not like this is really bad. The issue that I want to bring to attention is that he's moving through reads too slowly. From the beginning to the end of the season, it was this way, unless the Giants were intentionally running quick game. Like here in the same game, the Commanders are running cover 3. Dart gets a snap and looks to the right. He sees this receiver breaking open on this out route, but he moves off it to the, but he sits on it, waiting for it to be open. This is a critical mistake since corners, even not good ones like the Commanders have, are still significantly better than your average college corner, and they'll close gaps much faster. And you see that here with the corner coming back down, intercepting the ball. Now, it is one thing if this was a few gains into him starting, but at this point, he should be improving, like speeding up his processing and decision making, not remaining the same. That's a red flag. Now, before we move to the next few clips, I want to say I understand Brian Flores' defense is tricky and they definitely shred a lot of quarterbacks to pieces, but it is a great stress test for what he looks like against great defenses. The coverage pre-snap is cover 1 man-to-man, moving to a variation of cover 2. Looking left, Dart doesn't like what he sees and looks right. This is open if he fires it, which he doesn't like that either, and looks back to the left and starts moving to his left. Now this is something that we will not talk about later, but Dart is not that good at being off platform, like in terms of accuracy, whether it's on the run or throwing off his back foot especially. You really shouldn't be doing that anyways, but when doing any of these, it really doesn't end well for him, and that's what happens here. He sees his guy open right now in the zone. That's right now though, so the time to throw was before, not now, and he still throws it with it almost being intercepted. It's bad decision making and processing, and it shows his poor accuracy on the run as well, with it being thrown to the left of the receiver, giving the corner, who is in zone coverage, a chance to almost pick it off. The Vikings are now showing cover 3, with it now rotating to cover 2 robber. Dart sees this, looking towards the middle and then to the middle right, so this whole time he is watching the middle and he's likely looking here. This is not open. The safety has the ability to go rogue and is in position the whole time to pick it off. The linebacker makes an almost incredible play at the ball, almost tipping it and catching it for the interception, but we're not focused on the linebacker. That's great for him, cool. What we are focused on is Dart staring this down the whole way. He should not be focused on one read. Defensive backs are constantly watching the QB, and that's nothing new for Dart. He has to look off the receiver just to buy some time for the throw. He can't stare it down like that. Jaxson Dart will need to improve on this part of his game to be a franchise QB in the NFL. It's not bad, but it's not good for what Jaxson Dart needs to be as a pocket QB with upside in his mobility. Now, the one thing that Dart took away from being in Lane Kiffin's offense is being aggressive downfield. This is honestly what gives me hope with Jaxson Dart, and it's the main thing that made him look promising in his rookie season. For overall big time throw rate, he was at a decent amount for rookies, and really more than decent to be honest, with 19 big time throws and a 5.2% big time throw rate. Interesting, and most importantly, I feel, he had a 10.2% big time throw rate while under pressure, and along with that, he had a 4% turnover worthy play rate, which is really good given he's providing so many big time throws, and the film shows just that. A pre-snap, the Bears are running cover 6. Right before the snap, it rotates to cover 3. Dart looks to the middle, sees this rotation, and proceeds to look right. He'll have two options. One is this receiver running the go route, and two is the tight end running the out route. Now this out route is open for the first, but Jaxson Dart doesn't throw there, he throws here. This looks like a dumb decision at first, but actually it's not as bad as I thought it would be. See, Dart doesn't place this like a traditional go. He places this towards the sideline back shoulder, with the wide receiver making a great catch. This looks like an off throw, but it's actually a really good one. The wide receiver just wasn't ready for it. It's a big time throw by Dart, and it's notable because he recognized that he can't throw the goal like a normal go. He has to throw it to the sideline because it's well covered. That's what elite quarterbacks do. The Bears are once again presenting cover 4, rotating to cover 3 post snap. It's also going to be third down. This time Dart does mess up in processing, but there will be a redemption going to be open for the first down, and this is what Dart sees right away, but he has to throw it quickly and fire it in. That he doesn't do as he moves to throw but pulls it down. Why? Well, he's probably worried about the defender jumping the ball, which is a fair concern at this point, but that's why you have to throw with anticipation and fire it in, not when it's clearly open. So with that option gone, Dart doesn't know what to do, but he looks to leave the pocket. He scrambles right and sees the tight end open. This is a tight squeeze as a linebacker is trailing close enough, so throwing this as if it was an out route is risky because he could jump the route. So Dart throws it over the top to the tight end with enough room that he can get his feet in bounds still. It's outsetting playmaking by Jaxson Dart, and he made up for the mistake early on. This is the play after. Now the Bears are running a cover 3 variation. Now this look of cover 3 is the same kind of look used against the Rams in the playoffs. And I wonder, and assume this, that Sean McVay studied this game to decipher hints or clues when the Bears actually blitz and where they drop back. Sounds dumb, but I thought you guys might like that. Here the Bears send 5 with dropping 3 back from the original position. And Dart sees this unfolding and sees a ballsy opportunity as well. But this is, well, sometimes the downfall, the valuable essence that Dart brings to the table, aggressiveness. Throwing a crash course ball to the tight end, he places it perfectly, like absolute gold. Personally, I don't like these throws as they put players more at risk. On the other hand, there isn't really much that can do to prevent it, and throwing to the seam is a very valuable throw. While it's great that Jaxson Dart understands that he needs to make explosive throws, and he consistently shows that, when there comes to crunch time, he just doesn't get it done. The Commanders are displaying cover 6, but it rotates to cover 3. It is a third down. Dart gets a snap, looks to the right, and moves off that too quickly as the tight end will be open for the first down. He misreads that, but then he looks left and sees Robinson getting set separation. This is open if you fire it to him, not lofting it. And what does Dart do? He floats it out there with the safety knocking it away. It might not seem as bad since it was just knocked away, but if this corner wasn't so slow, that's picked off. It is for sure on Jaxson Dart, as he not only floats it out there and doesn't place it properly, he throws across his body and tries to hop throw this. Not a good idea either, especially since Jaxson Dart just doesn't have a great arm. Now on the following play, he proceeds to miss another opportunity. The Commanders are running cover 3. This defensive back comes down to cover this guy. That opens a ton of room for this receiver running the post. This gives Dart a lot of room to throw shorter with the safety trailing Slayton. Jaxson Dart should place this shorter, place it towards the sideline and leading the receiver there. Instead, he completely whiffs the throw, throwing behind the receiver. And that's the game. These two last plays were Jaxson Dart's opportunities to make something happen, and he definitely had stuff open. Now, against the Vikings, Jaxson Dart also had the chance to win the game. It's second down, and the Giants are near midfield. The Vikings are running cover 0 pre-snap, but it rotates to cover 2 post-snap. The problem here is that nothing is open, but Slayton could have been if Dart was not staring him down. Part of being an elite quarterback, and also a benefit of going through reads, is it moves defenders. Now, the issue of Dart staring him down is the defensive lineman can see him doing so. So he's waiting for the opportunity to knock it down, which is what happens here. If Dart looked off at any point, defensive lineman might not have been able to time the deflection. This makes it fourth down. A similar coverage switch up is cover 0 moving to maybe cover 3, but it's actually cover 7. Jaxson looks left and he has the out route open for the first. He doesn't throw it, maybe because he's looking here, but you don't throw that when it's fourth down when you're trying to extend the drive. Like, you just don't do that. Ultimately, Jaxson Dart gets sacked. Like, sure, the corner's hovering nearby, but that's why you fire it in. Every out route should be a bullet for Jaxson Dart, and that will be the game. Those are 3 of 3 games, that being the Broncos, Commanders, and Vikings, and Jaxson Dart had chance to do something to come back to win the game in a close score manner, and he failed to do so. It's a concerning thing moving forward because, along with making big time throws consistently, the other component to a QB's game that teams evaluate if they're going to keep you long term is what you do in crunch time. I'm not saying Jaxson Dart can't get better at this. This is a rookie review, not a projection. Some people just didn't get that with the Shadir Sanders rookie review video. These are the critical issues that I saw in his game. I know we only went through a few plays of some of these issues. I can't put all the plays on the video. Like, I just can't do that. If you guys want me to do like a full breakdown, like go through a whole game just live with you guys on like Patreon, and I can make that work. If you guys want that, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to make it happen. I mean, at some point I want to do that anyway, so just let me know. The other problem though in Jaxson Dart's game, this gets confused with the offensive line for the Giants. He was catastrophically bad in terms of creating pressure by himself. The data on Jaxson Dart with allowed pressure is the worst I've ever seen. Literally the worst. Like, there's nothing that comes close to it. There's no one near as bad as Jaxson Dart in his rookie season for creating pressure ever in his sample size. The only guy that I saw going back in the past 10 years is Tyler Huntley, who's played in much less games, so the sample size isn't quite the same. What allowed pressure is, if you don't know, it's the amount of pressure by defense that is on Jaxson Dart. For example, offensive linemen losing leverage on defensive line because the quarterback's bailing the pocket too early, or they're maneuvering the pocket in a way that they really shouldn't be. In terms of Jaxson Dart, it's really holding onto the ball for way too long. A possible reason why is that he needed to wait longer for deep balls or explosive plays to develop because we didn't have Malik Neighbors, who's a threat at all levels of the field, and they don't have a serious like speedster to be a threat downfield. I don't think this affected his time to throw as much though, or skewed his responsibility pressure to some degree. Sure, like that's a given, but not that much to be what it is. Plus, Jaxson Dart a lot of the times would be big play hunting on purpose. Like, I talk about the Lane Kiffin system and it's very vertical heavy. Well, that's what Jaxson Dart was doing, especially towards the beginning of the season. Instead of throwing the chunk play, or as we looked at in the film earlier, he's missing or ignoring these set chunk plays for deep balls that just wasn't there. As I said, this was a massive problem towards the beginning of the season, but he did start to improve as the year went on. Still an issue in his game that he has to be better at. I think ultimately with Jaxson Dart in his rookie season, there's a lot to clean up. He's a very streaky quarterback. The highs come in bunches and the bad plays also come in bunches as well. Not like he's making critical errors like here and there. This also makes it confusing and a little hard to evaluate him at times because he'll be perfectly fine at one point. Then you watch another chunk of his game and you're wondering like, what is happening? Like, he gets this error code and it just starts malfunctioning. With that all being said, there are plenty of plays where he's technically doing okay things. I talk about the bad plays and the explosive plays and this not being good in crunch time. There is enough of that to warrant it being a problem that he has to get better at it. But in terms of a very broad overview standpoint, he was pretty solid. Towards the end of the game, the Giants started running more quick game to speed up Jaxson Dart, especially his decision making. You often would see him checking down, which is not a bad thing, but it's not like a praiseworthy thing to point out. That's the expectation for an NFL quarterback. Like, I'm not going to point out the obvious. Like, sure, like you hit the good stuff, you're being accurate, like should be doing that. What about Shedeur Sanders' rookie season? Check out his video here, or you can check out some of my 2026 QB draft videos here, or you can check out some of my other videos here.